everyone, today I decided to go to the opposite end of the price spectrum. I know recently I talked about a foundation that was $128 and I haven't forgotten about that. I will be doing a full review on that next month. Still want to do some road testing on that. But today we're going to talk about a completely different line of makeup, a completely different price point. Ignore my dog who is wandering around making a lot of noise. I recently went to Dollar General and I picked up 2 foundations, 2 concealers, 2 blushes, and a highlighter for $39. And I slapped it all on along with some more makeup. All will be listed in the description box. And keep on watching. You can see me putting it through its paces in action. And then I'm going to check back in towards the end of the day and let you know how it all held up. I'm really hoping that it does as well as everyone else on the internet is saying, because this price point is kind of amazing and obviously very accessible. So let's get in with the video and hope you enjoy. I'm going to try to keep everything else I do the same so I can give this stuff a fair trial. So I'm going to start with the sunscreen I've been using. It's the Trish McEvoy Beauty Booster Cream SPF 30. It's not really a sunscreen per se. It's a moisturizer, primer, and broad spectrum SPF 30. I pile on quite a bit. I haven't really shown this in action, but it definitely works because aside from the redness in my face, there is no actual color. So that's good. I also have a giant thing of water here that I need to reach for. After this, I have to go get my quarterly, actually I think I'm down to twice a year, blood work done for my thyroid. Just a usual checkup just to make sure all the levels are good. I have tiny little veins that really don't like getting blood sucked out of them, so I'm trying to hydrate a lot to make that go easier and so that I don't look like a heroin addict. So I always get this wrong. It's either Family Dollar or Dollar General. I think it's Family Dollar. Everyone on YouTube is talking about their foundation, the Believe Beauty Skin Finish Foundation, medium to full coverage. And obviously it's kind of hard to figure out in store your shade. Now at $4 or $5 a pop, wasn't too hard to pick up both shades that look like they could work. I picked up the shade Linen and I picked up the shade, I believe, Porcelain. So I'm just going to do a quick little swatch on the least pigmented. Oh, it's just a mess everywhere, isn't it? So this is, do it right here. That is Linen. And then Porcelain looks a little warmer. Do that right here. It's a little more than I need, obviously. I think these are pretty close. I'm going to go with the one that's a little warmer. If I hold them back a little, I think it's easier to see. They're so close. I'm going to go with, I think, yeah, Porcelain is a little warmer. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, especially once I add powder and bronzer and all that stuff. But before I do that, one of the other things I picked up was the, what are they calling this? The Brighten Up Color Correcting Concealer in Light Medium. And I'm going to apply this just like I applied my Trish McEvoy, which is I put this on first underneath the foundation. And I'm just going to pat that in under my eyes. It's a pot concealer. And it is very creamy. So I'm a little concerned about creasing, but we shall see. Obviously, I'll set it just like I set my under eye all the time, and I'll use my usual products so we can compare. But let's see what else is going on. Let's talk about life. Michael and I will have traveled 15 out of 31 days in October. That was self-imposed. We did this to ourselves. Not complaining. We decided to visit the boys once at school. I'm doing 2 pumps. One visit just independent, just to visit them. And then another visit, which we knew we were going to do because we sit on a foundation board thing, the Family Leadership Council, through the university, and their fall meeting was scheduled. This is probably too much. Their fall meeting was scheduled in October, and we knew we were going to have to do that. So we decided to schedule a separate trip just to make sure we could actually spend time with our kids. So those were 2 trips, and we decided to drive, so we decided to take our sweet time driving there and back, which added to the trip. And then, since we were driving, I'm filming this ahead of the second trip, so I don't know how that one will have gone yet. We decided, since we were only a few hours away from St. Louis, by Texas driving standards, like 4 or 5 hours, we decided after the second trip, we were going to drive up to St. Louis, which is where Michael went to law school, where we got engaged. And so we haven't been really back since he graduated in '96, so I wanted to visit. So hopefully you'll be seeing that in the vlog, because that hasn't happened as I'm filming this. And hopefully we had a lovely time and you will be seeing that. This is applying nicely. I did apply a ridiculous amount. The coverage is as advertised, definitely medium. I could build it up to full. It covered all the pigmentation and redness I have left over from me not following my own advice and picking at things. I don't think this foundation really has a scent. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It has, I think I would say, a satin finish. Satin matte almost. I think it's a good color match. I didn't really talk about the packaging. Let's jump it back. Let's go a little bit backwards. This is what it looks like. It's a glass bottle, plastic cap, pretty gold pump at the top, gold lettering. Really nice. I mean, you would not know to look at it that I got this at a dollar store. Family Dollar, Dollar General. I'll get it right. I'll put it in the description box. It is sitting in some of my pores. That could be the sunscreen. It might just not play well with my sunscreen. So I'm not going to get hung up on that. I did pick up 2 concealers, more for blemishes than under eye. And I picked up Fair and Ivory. So again, with it, let's try to figure out what color. I'm dealing with an overcast day, so it's hard to tell. When you take a look at the 2 concealers I just swatched on my hand, the one that I am pointing to is Ivory, and the other one is Fair, and you can see what a big color difference there is. Ivory is much more pink toned, and then Fair is much more yellow-ish, almost neutral, some would say. Since we went with a warmer foundation, let's try Fair. I can always kind of wipe it off. Let's just do the tiniest dot right there. I think this is gonna work. The foundation pretty much covered everything. My plans today, huge plans, other than getting my blood drawn, we are going to a nursery, not a nursery school, a garden center. It is planting season in San Antonio. Okay, this wipes away pretty easily, so let's try this again. We call this the second spring in Texas. So it's time, I'm just gonna use my finger and dab that in. It is time to get some plants in the ground. I know that seems strange to a lot of you who do not live in South Texas, but for plants that we want to do well next spring, it's imperative that we get them in the ground now, give them a chance to establish themselves throughout the fall, winter, and early part of the spring before it gets super hot. Because once it gets really hot by May, if their roots aren't really well established, growing is going to be hard. Okay, so this is what we have going on right now. I opened the windows if you're wondering where'd all this light come from. Need a little more light. I like this. I am not unhappy with this so far. Let me just talk a little bit more about the concealer packaging. I really like. This is just a general complaint with CVS, anything you buy at CVS, and apparently at, oh, here it is, Dollar General. I've been calling it Family Dollar. I apologize. The anti-shoplifting tags can get a little annoying, but other than that, nice packaging, really nice, I have to say. Soft, flexible, very precise doe foot applicator. I liked that. And let me do some powder and bronzer, and then we'll move on to the rest of the stuff that I picked up. In addition to the foundations and the concealers and the corrector, I did pick up 2 highlighters no, I lied. I picked up 1 highlighter and 2 blushes. but one of these blushes to me looks like a highlighter. I will show you. Okay, so the actual highlighter I picked up is the Radiant Finish highlighter in the shade Champagne Kiss. It's highly reflective. Looks like that. Very soft, almost feels like a cream powder, but it is very golden, as you can see. And then I picked up 2 of the Born to blushes. One is in the shade Rosy Glow, which I think looks like a highlighter. There it is in the pan. It has obviously a pink undertone, but watch. That to me looks like a really pale pink, pretty highlighter. There it is swatched. Barely discernible on my very pale skin. And then the actual blush color, I mean, those are both blushes, is Born to Blush in High Tea, which also very shiny. Their blushes might leave a bit to be desired. This is more of a peachy pink. There it is, a lot of shimmer. Very soft and pretty to touch. And there it is, swatched on my finger. So, this may be a bit of an overkill doing highlighter and blush, since the blush could double as a highlighter, and it is going to double as a highlighter, so I'm going to not use Champagne Kiss, the actual highlighter, because I think it's too gold for my skin tone. I'm going to use Rosy Glow, which is in fact a blush, as a highlighter. We'll see how this goes. I mean, it's very metallic. I like it. I mean, I'm never going to ever say that a highlighter is too shiny. That's never going to come out of my mouth. But it might be a little too glittery. Now, let's try the blush. I mean, there's definitely... I like my blushes to have a sheen, but this is going to highlight every pore I have. And then some. There's more color payoff than I thought there would be. I am going to finish up my makeup, and then I will catch up with you. All right, makeup is on for the day. Everything, again, is listed in the description box. So I went with a matte eye to balance out all the shininess happening on my cheeks. I am going to get on with my day, finish drinking up all my water, get my blood drawn, hit the garden center, do some planting, run some errands, just all the stuff that, you generally do. And I will check in towards the end of the day and let you know how the foundation has held up. I'm not as interested. I'm not going to let this highlighter blush thing really affect it so much, because there's a lot of really great drugstore highlighters and blushes already out there. Milani, Maybelline, Flower Beauty come to mind like that. So I'm not going to let that get in the way. But I think this foundation was $4 or $5, and that's kind of amazing. On camera, at least, I keep looking in the monitor because this film's really pretty. At least in my monitor, it's looking really well. But I'm going to go, like I said, get on with my day. Enough of the rambling, and I'll pop back and let you know how it looks. But so far, so good. It is the end of the day. It is 7 o'clock, so I've had my foundation on about 10 hours. And I literally just came in from outside. I will insert some pictures of what I've been doing today. I've had a couple outfits on today. The weather decided to get hot. I think it hit 90 again. So I was sweating profusely, which is kind of gross. But I had to, my sweatshirt tee was wet. So I didn't even blot. I just sort of fanned myself dry because I didn't want to do anything to the makeup to change the circumstances. So you are seeing nothing. I have done nothing. I didn't add powder. I didn't touch up. I added lipstick just 30 seconds ago. It's just sitting here on the table from where I left it. This is 10 hours later, no touch up. This is the first time I'm actually looking at myself. I'm just glancing down into the monitor. I am really impressed with this foundation, the Believe foundation. It is amazing. I can see it sitting in my pores a little bit, but it was sitting in my pores a little bit right when I put it on, and I'm guessing that has more to do with the primer sunscreen I put on than the actual foundation, because it's sitting really nicely in the areas where I don't have pores. It's a little shiny here, but again, I haven't powdered, touched up, nothing. It hasn't worn off tiny little bit here. I ate a bagel and cream cheese with tomatoes for lunch, and it just kind of smeared all over my face. I would have expected more to wear off, honestly, than it did. Very impressed. The under eye corrector thing, I don't know. It's not sticky under my eyes. I think it did an okay job. I think there's some darkness under my eye that is probably melted mascara and has nothing to do with the under eye corrector. So, final thoughts on a first impression. Very impressed with the foundation. Pretty impressed with the under eye corrector. I'm going to run it through some more tests, but I think this is definitely worth using again. Even though this is very inexpensive, I would pass on the blush and highlighter. I think there are other options in the drugstore that they're just better options. I don't think that you need to jump on this bandwagon. The concealer covered well and stayed put. So the liquid products and the cream products I'm very impressed with. Who would have thunk it? I'm a believer in Believe. So there you go. I would like to hear from you. If you have tried anything else from the product line or have your own experiences with Believe makeup or Believe beauty from the Dollar General, I'd really like to hear from you. I will put the website if you want to order directly from it. It's not an affiliate link. Just go ahead and order. As always, thank you so much for watching, and rest assured you will be seeing more of this on my face. In fact, I think what I'm going to do in a future video is do one side of my face with the Believe foundation and the other side of my face with a very expensive high-end foundation, and you'll have to guess which side is the more expensive one. Stay tuned for that one. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.